In Kazakhstan, the craft developed over the centuries, leaving a legacy of unique products of artisans, amazing wealth of artistic imagination, and the perfection of form. A respect for one's heritage, traditional cultural values, these are the main tasks of the current generation. The history of folk crafts is a record of creative research and the discoveries of folk artists. The art of the Kazakh people, their national traits and traditions, were formed and perfected for centuries. Folk art stores in itself a historical memory and national heritage. Masters of folk art have bit by bit collected and continue to collect the experience of previous generations, multiplying them and transferring their skills from one generation to the next. Primitive people have successfully used animal skin to protect themselves from the cold. They preserved skin by draining them in an extensive form under the sun, rubbing the surface of the skin with fat, and then they would stretch it, or they would combine these two primitive methods of tanning. After this, the skins turned into a high-quality leather, soft, permeable, and not susceptible to rotting. The artisans of the time produced many things out of skin: clothing and shoes, a variety of dishes, harness, saddles, quivers, shields, gloves, book bindings. All of these things required various tannings. Initially, it was only everyday things that were created, but then man wanted some way to express himself, and that's when artisans who have a more creative approach to the work appeared. We have inherited from our ancestors the multifaceted and surprisingly authentic identity of national art, which we must cherish and develop fruitfully. Modern artisans are an inexhaustible source of beauty and harmony in the original culture of the Kazakh people. We will talk about one of these amazing artisans, Saifullah Rustam, here in our program. Saifullah Rustam combines his unique creativity with the work at school. He is a teacher. He teaches children the skills of painting and drawing. This professional knowledge helps the master to create his masterpieces. As a member of the Union of Kazakhstani Artists, Saifullah Rustam is doing a lot to popularize leathercraft, which has made our land famous since ancient times. The study and generalization of the experience of the masters from antiquity to the present day have allowed Saifullah Rustam to create highly artistic products, which preserve the national traditions. He scrupulously collects old recipes for production, tanning, and leather processing. This is not an easy task, because masters used to keep the recipes of leather-making production in secret, and they passed them from father to son. And when you see a product by Saifullah Rustam, whether that's a whip, scabbard belt, or quivers for arrows, the imagination immediately takes you back to many centuries ago. His work is widely known outside of Kazakhstan. He repeatedly gets high marks at international exhibitions in France, Germany, and other European countries. He is also the holder of a certificate of the international competition, UNESCO Seal of Excellence. We were granted the great honor to be invited into the studio of Saifullah Rustam. As soon as you cross the threshold of his workshop, you involuntarily freeze because of what you see. The three-dimensional wall panels of great beauty. They contain so much skill, symbolism, and imagination. Today we will tell you about these unique panels made of leather and wood. The artist has developed his technique of weaving for several years. So where does it all start? How do you create a masterpiece? Well, of course, with imagination, said our master. It turns out that imagination is akin to inspiration. Perhaps it's the same thing. There is an idea that in the future, we will undergo a series of reincarnations until it becomes a unique product. There is a sketch, a detailed drawing, where the details are thoroughly worked out on paper, and the selection of the skin is the next crucial stage. For the production of panels, soft varieties are used. The cutting of skin is produced with a special knife, and the master cuts it into thin, long strips of equal width and length. The coloring is another important step. Saifullah Rustam uses ink, which he produces according to the unique ancient recipe. This natural dye deeply nourishes the skin, emphasizes the structure of the skin, and gives a deep, rich color that does not fade for many years. The drying of the skin is a difficult stage. The colored leather flaps are stretching during drying so that the skin does not dry out and it is not deformed. After that, the master produces a wooden frame. This is the basis of future panels. Used wood durum, which is specially treated for strength and durability, is covered with paint and varnish. It starts with a long and complex process of attaching the skin to the frame and weaving it. This is a complex technique that the master has developed for several years and is constantly improving. Being acquainted with the panel, we found that it is not only a highly artistic work, but it also embodies a deep meaning that the master wants to convey to the people, to tell the story of his nation, rooted in antiquity. Indeed, the profound symbolism of the painting is rich and multifaceted. On one panel, we see images of warriors galloping on horseback, as symbols of heroism and valor. Saving a tribe was not possible without valiant warriors who protected and defended their territory and their families. The warrior is a symbol of a man, the rule of the beginning, a kind of successor. The dombra is also present in the master's products. Its value in the life of Kazakhs is exceptional. Poetry is beyond someone's power, and since ancient times, there was a cult of poetry and eloquence among the Kazakhs. This is not by chance among the people that there existed a popular expression: the top of art is eloquence. In addition, since ancient times, Kazakh society adhered to the principle that you can deprive the head, but not words. All folk wisdom and century-old oral poetic tradition, it's concentrated on songs. The paintings where a tree occupied a central place make up a series of works by Saifullah Rustan. The tree is a symbol of development and a symbol of the universe. The branches embody diversity. They are coming out from a common trunk, which is a symbol of unity. The roots of the tree that go deep into the ground point to our earthly life, whereas branches are rising into the sky, symbolizing our higher self. With the help of a tree, man ascends to spiritual enlightenment. Not without reason, in ancient times people believed that there is a mysterious connection between a tree and man, a tree and the gods, and a tree and the mystical forces of nature. They believed that the tree absorbs the soul and, like a mirror, reflects everything that happens in heaven and on earth. in the human world and in the world of the gods. According to the traditions and legends, the soul of a tree is a very old and very wise being. It can tell the stories of all beings that have ever touched the tree. The people believe that the soul of the tree can communicate with the winds, the stars, and the sun. In many myths, tales, and legends, a tree can not only become a wise teacher, but it also is able to teach a person a splendid lesson of love, loyalty, and friendship. It asks for nothing and does not require anything, but opens only in response to purity of the soul, kindness, unselfishness, and love for a person who is near him. If we consider the other panels, you can see the image of a mountain goat, Argali, an ancient symbol of the Eurasian determination, commitment, independence, and excellence. His spiral horns are conductors of astronomical powers. The stylized figures of Argali symbolize the desires to conquer peaks. No wonder the spirits of the mountains in Kazakh legends often appear before the person in the image of Argali, showing a kind of perfection, a pursuit of which should lead the people forward. The goat or sheep is a revered animal, a symbol of the middle world, earthly life, the most pure. There is ancient custom to endow the most respected guest with a sheep's head. We were lucky enough to see the panel when the master was working on the image of a bird. We talked a lot with Saifullah Rustan about bird and of its significance, and indeed, we can talk endlessly about this symbol. There is no nation where the bird is not embodied as a symbol of freedom. And thanks to its ability to climb upward and keen eyesight, the bird often becomes a symbol of divinity, power, and victory. In the world, birds are considered to be messengers of gods. A singing bird is a symbol of happiness. Birds are associated with wisdom, intelligence, and the speed of thought. And it's no wonder that they say that an idea is the fastest bird. We admire the beauty of the panels, but the value that the artist puts into his works often remains outside of our attention. This is an absolutely unforgivable thing. Those spiritual masters allow us to better understand the artist, to evaluate his creative pursuits. All paintings are alive. They are full of emotions and feelings, transmitting life experience of the author, and they make us empathize and sympathize. The lovely, skillful products of Saifullah Rustan affect the soul. They force us to break out of the imagination and plunge us into the mysterious world of our ancestors. There are many older traditions which are carefully preserved by masters and are passed on from generation to generation. At the same time, it is often difficult to draw a clear line between art and craft. While observing the master at work, you can be surprised at how modern and old handicraft art can seem. In the next program, we will meet with a unique master who makes costumes according to old designs.